Attention all senior golfers and anybody which struggling with mobility. I'm going to give you 5 tips to sort that out. Can we get a little bit looser, swing it a little bit further and get that all important distance? I have so many people come to me for lessons saying I'm stiff, I've got tight hamstrings, I've got a lack of mobility in my hips, where they're watching everybody on television with a rotation of like 100 degrees, a swing which is round the neck, or somebody like John Rahm that swings it really short and still smacks it a country mile. They're quite unrelatable, aren't they? Compared to all of us playing golf at our local golf courses, the people on TV are a little bit unrelatable. So here's going to be 5 tips for you to help with making your swing just feel that little bit easier on the muscles. And everyone that says I've got no hip rotation, there's a couple in there that's going to really help that. Step 1, set up. Now when we're putting our feet down with the driver, obviously it's at least shoulder width apart. But what we see on television is a lot of the players with quite square toes. You might see a slight flare of the left foot or the front foot. I'm going to flare the left foot out and even the right foot just to get some more hip mobility. And when you are addressing the ball, don't lift those hands up high and get them tight. Lower them so we've got some wrists in there, because these wrists are going to put a bit more power into the swing. So slightly lower. You even see the toe of the club off the ground, and we're getting the toes pigeon-toed almost. Another thing about my setup, look how I'm moving. Certainly not static before I take the club back. So feel a little bit of movement, even like this. The great Severiano Ballesteros, he used to shuffle from either side, and he has some great rhythm. So think Sevi. Step 2 is, in order to get those hips moving, we've already got the setup, but how do we get some more range of motion? Well, if we keep our feet on the ground, there's going to be less rotation. So it's okay to come up onto your toes in your backswing. See, I'm just coming off my front foot. Just gets a little bit more range of motion. And then in the downswing, do the same. Come up off your back foot. So that feeling of Justin Rose comes off that heel, that front heel. He's got a bad back. So what he does is he just releases that tension in that lower back at the top. That's a really nice move that just takes that pain, that nagging pain away, so you can swing a little bit more freely. Step 3 is, don't brace yourself too much against that back leg, the right leg if you're a right-hander. So in your backswing, don't feel like you're sitting into that hip too much. Just let it come back. You can see how the right leg straightens. So here, hardly any hip turn. You can't see any gap between my legs towards that target, right? But if I allow this right leg to straighten, suddenly you're going to see a gap right between there. See that gap there? This is straightened. Look how much that hip has turned. No turn, lots of turn. We're just letting it fall back. That's okay to do. Try and see that gap between the legs. That's just going to increase rotation in the backswing. The further we can get that club back, the more time we've got to get some speed, okay? That's the key. How far can we get it back so that it can gain speed on the way down? And just opening up that right hip and letting the leg fall back, that's going to help that. Step 4, you don't have to keep this left arm straight. Everyone says, keep your arm straight in your backswing, keep your arm straight in your backswing. You might only get to there. Great Tom Watson, he's still playing some fantastic golf into his late 60s. He's got a slight bend. Jordan Spieth, still a young pup, he has a little bit of bend in that arm as well. So it's okay to go from there to there. Can you see how much distance we get with that? We don't need this right elbow to go way behind you like that. That's it breaking down. We're still nice and connected. We're just getting a little bit more length to that backswing because there is a slight bend. It's okay for that. That's going to get us more range. The more range we're going to get, the more speed we're going to get on the way down. Now, step 5 is the downswing and the follow through. We want to feel relaxed, okay? We want to get this club moving. It's all right to feel almost a little wristy. Don't feel so static. And at the end of that swing, I want you to toss the club over your left shoulder and feel like it, get the grip pointing towards the target. Don't go finish short and low and round yourself. No, we've done all that range in the backswing. Let's do it in the downswing and the follow through also. So a little bit of movement, coming up off the heels, and then try and get that laser beam grip at the end. That flick over the shoulder, it adds that little bit more pace. It keeps you thinking about hitting the ball and through the ball. So many people forget about what happens after you've made contact, but that flick over your shoulder just adds a little bit more pace to your swing. That's what we all want, isn't it? Mobility, which gets you pace to your swing. So there's 5 tips for seniors and people that lack with their mobility to help you swing freer and further.